there was superficial ones that I wouldn't. Yeah, I also want a tall person. Like, yeah, he can be godly, but height wouldn't hurt those things. Like,
let me find the list.
no. And intimacy without commitment is just a recipe for disaster. I wasn't asked, yeah. Like, I was talking to this guy, and then one day he's like, so me as your man, and I was like, okay. Now I didn't know, but now I know.
Can be so selfish, but it's still kawa because there is no union. Once you're married, it now has to become a mission of, like, you have to wake up. Mission of, like, how do we take our kingdom forward? How it's good that we're happy, we are there for each other, we're doing that for each other.
But then, how are we acting?
Exactly. At the end of the day, how we take the kingdom forward? What are we doing? And it's okay not to have the answer immediately. That's another thing. Like you might take time to discover that answer.
I found Kristen's list, by the way. If you all talk to me nicely, I can make this possible.
How did you even find it?
I can make it public knowledge.
Hi guys, welcome back to Bible Conversations, and today, it's speak for itself, not eat but like my excitement can speak for itself. We have two amazing guests today, and we're going to be talking about an exciting topic that they've embodied so well from the beginning, and they continue to. And I also happen to be like the biggest fan of the topic, so this is like the perfect trial for the topic.
Fantastic.
We're going to be talking about love, but before we go into all that, let our guests introduce themselves.
Hi.
How you doing?
My name is Kristen Kabali. What else do they say when they're introducing themselves? I serve with the collective UG. I'm a mother of one. That's really it. I do communications in life. And I'm really happy to be here.
Come on. I like when she does that. Anyway, hi, people. My name is Samuel Kabali, husband to Kristen Kabali. I do animation. I run an animation company called Tonda Animation. I also serve with the collective UG. And I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so I'm not going to waste time because I know no one is interested in listening to me today. And I'm going to ask questions about love, basically, and mainly the aspect of dating. Because me, that is like, I'm a person who follows the book, and dating is not in the book that I submit to. So it becomes very, very tricky for me to date. But we're going to talk about the questions that I was able to think about, and I believe I share the same sentiments with a lot of young people. To start with, is there such a thing as ready to date?
Ladies first.
That's cheating.
Yeah.
But all right. Is there such a thing as ready to date? I think so. I think so. It's possible to be in a place where you're not ready to be intentional about someone else. Maybe you're healing from a previous relationship, healing from just life and its things. Maybe you feel like you're just not ready to share yourself like that. Because being in a relationship with someone requires a certain level of selflessness that is different from the usual, You have a whole human being to be accountable to. It's not like marriage, but it's leading you to that point. And I personally think that if you're not ready to get married, you're not ready to date. That's just me. Because the end goal of dating is marriage. That's different from okay, I'm still finishing school and what, but like you know that when you finish school, you're ready to get married. But if you're, I can't get married now, I feel like I still have a lot to do, then you have no business dating. Do whatever you think you want to do, and then you'll date when you're ready to marry. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Powerful. I think I'm going to talk, assuming that most of the people listening are already Christians. For the non-Christian audience, man, first get saved. But for the Christian out there asking themselves if there is such a thing as being ready to date, I would say what's the purpose for dating? Especially these days, young people start dating or get into relationships for the wrong reasons, basically. You are lonely, or you have FOMO, you've seen your friends getting married, and now you also feel like, man, it's my time. My age mates have all gone. And so I think the purpose for dating is important. If you're getting into it for the right reasons, for the biblical kind of reasons. I think yes, the answer is yes. Like it is like being ready for dating is a thing. As Christina said, you need to. It's an accountability thing. Like you're now accountable to someone else. You have to carry yourself like you're preparing for marriage, because biblically that's what it's supposed to lead to. And so yeah, you need to be ready for that. You need to have your heart in the right place for you to be able to make that decision, knowing where it's going to lead. So yeah, I have personal experiences about this, of course, but I know from experience that you have to be ready to be in a relationship before you get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that in your answers you didn't mention anything. You have to be 25 or 30. Also because I know you are different scopes of, years
right.
when it comes to the time you started dating.
Sure.
Anyway, so, okay, now let's say, I'm ready to date. I've heard of the famous when you know, you know. You raised your hand? Okay. I've heard of the famous when you know, like, as if like something happens and like it's so Christian and you're like, yeah, I know. So, okay.
Descended upon me. Revelation.
Is it really always that clear? Is it even that clear? Like you hear some, I don't know, burning bush, what, and like, is it really like, is that when you know thing? Like, what's up with that jazz?
I think it's been romanticized a lot by digital media and Hollywood. They've made it seem like it's an instant thing, that there are instant butterflies in your stomach and those kinds of things. My experience of it though has been more gradual. So it's not an instant thing. It's not something you instantly feel or are aware of. It happens over time. And I feel like it's healthier that way. Because, at least for Christine and I, we started out as friends, like genuine friends. Like, not even this friendship of, man, I have my ulterior motive, those ends. Like, actual genuine friendships, because we had just come out of very interesting relationships. And we really just wanted to be there for each other in a genuine way. And so that, it grew from that into now those revelations of, man, it looks like this could be the real thing. And so I think it's important to allow time to take its course during the dating process. It's okay for you to date and you realize somewhere along the way that this might not be it. And that's the best time for you to realize that before you get married, where you're in it now forever. So it's okay to realize that along the way and just call it quits. But if in the process of you taking your time and learning more about this other person, you realize that they are the kind of person you can see yourself with long term, forever, I think it just go for it. So I think it happens over time. It doesn't happen instantly, at least from my experience. Yeah.
I saw a burning bush.
I think that I've actually said that when you know several times, but it's usually me just dodging the whole conversation. But I think that there's actually things for you to consider. Marriage and dating should be cautious decisions you make. You shouldn't wake up one day and you realize, hey, I'm in a relationship. Or, hey, it's this serious, he has proposed, yeah? It should be a very cautious decision that you make. So I would say really what are your priorities, or what would you desire in the man or woman that you want to marry? Does this person fit in that scope of things, especially outside of the superficial ones? Like those must be tall, dark, and handsome, what, like that things that really matter, especially. Does that person tick those boxes? And then also, are you friends? Like, do you feel like this is really my friend? Like, we can sit all day, talk, have a good time, and not feel awkward at any one point. So, like, how comfortable do you feel? So, usually when my friends are starting to date, my first question among many, I usually ask, of course, is you saved? Do you what church? But also, do you see yourself spending the rest of your life with this person? And to say that dating should lead to marriage doesn't mean that if along the way you realize it's not going to work, it doesn't mean that you're now glued to this person. That should be the goal. Marriage should be the goal as you date. But it's also okay if it, if it doesn't work out. No one is going to beat you. That's okay. But as you consider, ending up with this person for life, like, is this someone I can spend the rest of my life with, and I'm very comfortable with that, with that idea, and happy, and but if you like, I don't know, maybe you need to like, yes, the affirmation thing. I was telling Phoebe the other day, if in your relationship every day you wake up and affirm yourself, he loves me. I think he's the one.
Wow.
I think this is going to work. Like, then you should probably leave, yeah? So I think that there's things. It's how you know if that person is the one, is you need to know what is your idea of the one. Because if you do not know what you want in a person, in a forever partner, spouse, then you don't know if they're the one, because you also do not know. And I think for me, previously, I was one of those people who woke up one day and I realized I was in a relationship. I didn't make the cautious decision to enter it, but I was talking.
Really asked you.
I wasn't asked, yeah. Like, I was talking to this guy, and then one day he's like, so me as your man, and I was like, okay. Now I didn't know, but now I know. And it was and then before I knew it, it was 2 years down the road and we were dating, but like, I didn't even make the conscious decision to like enter this relationship. And I think after that relationship ended, I actually realized that I did not know what I wanted in a partner. So before someone and I dated, way before, while we were still friends, I made a list. Oh my Lord, it was such a long list. I made a list.
And she sent me that list.
Because we're friends and
I
we're
still
getting to
have
know
it
each other,
here.
yeah?
It was a very powerful list.
I made a list. The list had, of course, like non-negotiables. Then it also there was superficial ones that, and I wouldn't. Yeah, I also want a tall person. Like, yeah, he can be godly, but height wouldn't hurt. Those things. Like,
Let me find the list.
no. So, yeah, I had a list. And for me, that list was more than just a list. It was just me trying to understand what I want in my future spouse.
Yeah.
So that when I meet that person, I can know that, okay, they're the one because this is what I want. But if you do not know what you want, then you won't know. It's not like those things of, he's the one. When you know, you know. But like, what do you know? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that you mentioned words like consider, decision making, because I think I've been a victim of the whole God must tell me, because like, and yet there is the cautious decision you have to make as a person, like God is not going to, he gives us the guidance, but then make decisions for us. So you actually have to, so that you own your decision. Because I know my reason for wanting God to tell me is so that I blame him when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And yet that's really not how things work.
Yeah.
The next question. We've heard so much about dating boundaries.
Sorry.
It's okay. The mainly talked about are the physical boundaries, and I was asking myself, are there other boundaries, like emotional boundaries,
Yes.
especially as a woman? And how does that look like? Because for a woman, unlike for a man, where he'll tell me probably, don't, if you dress a certain way around me, you may go back as two, yet you came as one.
Come on.
Right? And yet, as a woman, my emotions play a lot.
Yeah.
So, and then also, we've talked about dating being like, it's not marriage, it could not work.
Yeah.
And yet, I've opened myself up fully to this person. Like,
Yeah.
they have my emotions 100%. It didn't work. So, how do emotional boundaries look like in a relationship?
So I can only talk for the guy's perspective. I guess Christian will talk about what it's like for girls. Emotionally, I can only speak from my experience with Christian and probably the people I had dated before. Me personally, I'm a very in touch with my emotions kind of person. I have become that kind of person because of the healing I've gone through while dating Christine and being married to her. But before that, I was very out of touch with my emotions. And I feel like in some ways, the culture has made guys like that. They may not be like that naturally, but the environment.
There's that thing where they say men are actually more emotional than women. That's why they don't show it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in some ways it's true.
Yeah.
Because we cannot assume, like you cannot blatantly assume that the men are emotionless creatures because it takes emotion to make a relationship happen.
Yeah.
It cannot happen void of emotion. So men are actually emotional. But because of the environment and the culture that is around us in this day and age, emotions for men have been frowned upon. And so to be able to express your emotions comfortably in a relationship, it requires a sense of security. I need to know that if I become vulnerable with you, even during the dating phase, I need to know that won't be abused, which was what happened to me in my previous relationships. That vulnerability was abused. And so the effects of that, and for me, and I think for other guys as well, is that you now create more walls. Yeah, become a hard guy. And when you go with that mentality into a new relationship, it's now toxic because the person you're trying to connect to emotionally can no longer connect to you through your walls. Like they just hit a wall every time. You try to be emotionally available with them. But in the case of a healthy relationship where both people are actively in touch with their emotions, I feel like it's important to put those boundaries there, like so that it's dating. Like you want to know enough about them emotionally, but not too much, and so it's a very fine line to tread because you don't want to invest and be I don't know what the right word is there to use, but you want your investment to be such that you know enough about each other to make a serious relationship, but it doesn't become too emotionally invested in that you begin to to want to experience marital things while you're dating. And it always ends up into physical things. Like a very close emotional relationship will always begin yielding physical fruits because that's just how God made us. So you want to be careful with how emotionally open you make yourself. So you need to set boundaries, man. Maybe Christine can talk about what that looks like for girls, but for guys, man. For guys, I don't know. Let me just maybe not say we. Let me just speak for myself because guys are very. So for me and Christine, when we just started dating, we tried to keep it purely friendly.
platonic, yeah.
So just imagine what you would be like with your friend. You get anything you would do with your friend, you do in this relationship. Anything you wouldn't be doing emotionally, like sharing emotionally with a friend, of course, of the opposite sex, don't do it. You get like allow the friendship to grow into a
manipulating
without having to without making it grow into something when it's not ready for that stage. So I just allow the stages to play out from friendship to something more serious. Don't skip stages. Like, just allow it to organically grow into something healthy. Yeah.
I like not speaking fast. You gather call your thoughts. Anyway, I think when you were sharing, it reminded me, or it made me realize something that if you do not have like another thing that you shouldn't be doing before, like how you know you're ready to date. One of the things I think that is important is if you have friends, like good friends, a circle of friends that are keeping you accountable, that are doing life with you. Because what happens is that if you get into a relationship, because man, you're lonely, and then now like this is like your only friend, now all the things that your girlfriends or your guy friends could have helped you with, now they're all on this one person. And like that much emotional dependency on someone will always breed a physical thing. And you're dating, you're not married, so then it makes it a whole lot more complicated. So you need to be doing life with other people, like have friends as well, that you can talk to, that you can cry with, because such a not burdening, for lack of a better word, this one person that you're not entirely committed to, because the one true commitment in this regard is marriage. And intimacy without commitment is just a recipe for disaster. And of types of intimacy, emotional is one of them. I think it's a type of intimacy in itself. So because you are attracted to this person, of course the person you're dating, you're attracted to them. You don't want to feed the intimacies, like the emotional intimacy, because it will always sprout into something else that you may not be ready to control. So it's tricky. I don't know if there's a one answer fits all, but I really think that you need to go slowly. You need to go slowly. It's okay to date intentionally, like get to know each other. But if you're looking for someone to cry with and pour out your heart, maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend may not be the best
Cry with your
solution.
girlfriends or your brother or
it's
your
okay
sister.
for them to know what you're going through, but like, it's just to be
I
on the
think
safe
it's
side.
let's just to add to what Kristen said. It's important, as she said, to have people who can satisfy those borderline extreme emotional needs. So like when you have needs that go beyond what you feel would be safe, what God is telling you is safe emotionally, have I want to call them a venting avenue, like someone where you can vent out this feeling to its completion without it becoming too emotional that it starts becoming physical. Someone who you can't go that far with, like a relative, a brother, someone you confide in who can understand where you're at and relate with you in that way. For me, it was my sister. So like during the period of time when I was going through crazy relationships, like she was a person who would listen to what I had to say and would give the kind of satisfaction I would need for that season, for that time. And like that allowed me to have an avenue to vent, but also allowed me to be healthy enough emotionally for the next relationship.
Guys, have a life outside your relationships.
I found Christine's list, by the way. If y'all talk to me nicely, I can make this
How did you
possible.
even find it? These
I
are
can make it
conversations of
public
years
knowledge.
ago.
I can make this list public knowledge.
Anyways, so we're in a generation that makes so much noise about red flags. Like red flag, boy bye. And yet I've come to realize everyone has red flags. So how do you deal with red flags in a relationship? And guys, there is a limit to these things. Don't be there saying, oh my God, now he's beating me. How do we deal with guys? Just get out of that but generally, red flags, because we've come up from different places where we've grown differently. So there are things that I do a certain way. And for me, I don't know that they hurt you. So how do you deal with red flags in a relationship?
Well, for me, the solution to red flags is open communication. Like, I don't know anything that works better than that, because we are human beings. Every human being has a red flag. Like, we are, by our nature, we are sinful.
Red blood.
Man. So red is in us, literally.
Clap for yourself.
So, by our very nature, we are flawed. And so, you finding red flags in someone is expected. It shouldn't surprise anyone. Because you're relating with another, a person who is sinful, like someone who is being redeemed. They are not yet like God. And so, identifying red flags is okay. It should not end there, though. There should be a conversation about this that yields into a way forward. Like, if you notice a red flag about someone you're dating, it's now up to you, the one who has noticed the red flag, to open the communication lines so that this is something that is discussed. You should not expect the other person to know their red flag because they have carried it their whole lives. They don't think it's a red flag. So it's up to you. It's your responsibility as a person who has noticed a red flag to bring it up in a healthy way, so that it then becomes a topic of discussion and then can start beginning to yield results. It should not be televised to your friends, and it should first become a conversation between the two of you. Because a lot of the toxicity about red flags and all this stuff is because the first person who hears about a red flag is not the person who has the flag. You get it? It's always someone's best friend, someone's, and then like you can't control the fire when it has started going that far. You need to contain the fire where it is, have that conversation, and then when it's serious, like what you mentioned, like physical violence and stuff like that, that's when you now start like pulling away, getting advice from people, and like handling this thing. All the while remembering that this is a human being who Jesus died for this person. And so they are as deserving of healing as you are.
Yeah.
Like, they are not evil, they're not condemned.
They're not cut out from,
These are people who can become a future testimony if you go about handling that red flag in the right way. And so it's just a bigger picture of what relationships are about. Because if you look at them more like opportunities to carry the Christ in you to other people, to another person, it now becomes your ministry. And I know people don't like that word, but the truth is that as Christians, we have to carry this ministry with us everywhere, because everyone is a potential testimony, including the person you're dating and their red flags. So we need to change the way we think about it. We can't think about it the same way people in the world think about it. We need to approach it in a Christian way, in a healthy way that's safe for everyone, so that you don't stay in a violent relationship, but at the same time, realizing that there is a potential for Jesus to do his thing through this person and through this situation, to turn it for good. And who knows, maybe that's what that season was for. You may not continue in the relationship, but because of encountering you through this red flag, he has now received the beginnings of redemption, and you would have done your part in their lives if you go about it the right way. So I think, communication is so important when red flags are identified, and then the rest can happen from there.
I'm just here thinking, what are red flags exactly? I feel like some of the things that we
you
call
don't like.
Some of the things that we call red flags maybe shouldn't be red flags.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call them orange. I don't know. Like, say they're amber. Hence, we need to discuss it.
We need to add some
and
color.
do better.
There's
Because
intensity,
if they're just amber, like, okay, there's a flag here, it's amber. Let's not let it turn red. Let's talk about it. Because when I think of red flags, I'm thinking, you've seen him beat someone, like he's violent. You've seen him do, I don't know, like
I think
such
society
things.
has turned orange flags into red flags. Like people.
I also don't know if orange flags are a thing.
No, it's not a
But
thing.
like
It's
this-
literally something we've just come up here
But
on Sacredhood first. But I think society has turned every correctable thing about a person into a red flag, which is what Kristen, I think,
yeah,
is
and I
saying.
think the problem is that we often approach relationships thinking of what can I get out of this, not what can I give. So because of that mentality, you do not give the other person the same grace you give yourself. And like, you have lied before, you have, I don't know, been rude to someone before, but you also don't say you're a bad person. So why don't you extend the same grace? Christian couples who are serving together rarely have time to fight because, like, you have bigger things to think about and plan for. Who left the toilet seat up is not on your list of priorities.
Yeah.
So there's no room to fight about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said everything, but I think without repeating what he said, I think cultivate good Christian friendships around you and have fun. Like, please. Yeah, like just have fun even as a person, like have fun, like, and friendships really help so much in the having fun part, but like just have a good time.
Guys, this episode was for me, and thank you so much, the Kabalis, for
It was a pleasure.
gracing us with this episode. I'm sure it's going to bless so many. Guys, don't forget to like, share, comment, share it with a friend. As we've seen, this applies to everyone. Like you can send it to even your parents. This guy's love has a way of affecting everyone.
Fantastic.
But hoping to see you next time. And yeah, cheers.
Bye.
To inspire generations to find joy in Christ-like living. Yeah, they told us to have fun. That's our mission statement.
I love it. Powerful stuff.
Tunywe ku byokunywa.
Thumbnail.
That's why I'm clapping. That's why I'm clapping.
It look like.
I was about to say, man.
This one, but I didn't know if the goal was a TV show kind of thing or a chill because I wanted to drink when I was like,
Like you can put the legs in the chair.
more because I was trying to do this.
Can be so selfish, but it's still kawa because there is no union. Once you're married, it now has to become a missional. Like you have to wake up. Missional. Like how do we take the kingdom forward with this thing? How it's good that we are happy, we are there for each other, we're doing life for each other.
But then,
But
how are
at
we
the end of the day,
impacting?
exactly. At the end of the day, how are we taking the kingdom forward? What are we doing? And it's okay not to have the answer immediately. That's another thing. Like you might take time to discover that answer. About the kingdom, because the only thing that will exist after this is all done. Your emotions that you've been tying on.
And that is the difference we have from non-believers. Because non-believers can have happy marriages. You get, like, they can get married. And they're, like, I keep seeing some celebrity couples who are married and happy and they look. But the difference we have as Christians is our marriage is not just for ourselves. Like, everything in our lives is not for you. Like,
Also, when I think about that, it now makes sense with Pastor Masembe's testimony. If they had known our father, if they had known